Okay, so capitalism. I imagine you oppose what you call capitalism?
No, I want to hear your definition of it, Steve.
Absolutely. We're talking about a market system in which resources,
Can you just
services.
state the question?
Okay, I'm answering it right now.
You know, but state the question. That
You
I
do,
asked
because it was
you.
your question.
Okay, what do you think about capitalism?
It's a medium of voluntary exchange for distribution of goods and services. I call it a distribution because it's about exchange. Absolutely. It's based on a price system. I probably been missing some details. I apologize if it's not a perfect F.
Okay, and so what do you think the role of free market capitalism is in the United States?
It is a system which permits people to engage in a clear market where there's competition it's the best system for dealing with the supply and demand questions that we have to deal with.
Okay, so...
I appreciate your asking it. Good question.
So how do you feel about, do you believe that, if capitalism
Okay.
wants to, as we know, we understand the history of capitalism, the tendency of capitalism is to globalize, correct?
Actually, it's not.
Oh, it's not.
No, it is not.
Can you
That's not the
explain
case.
that?
That's a great question. The globalism movement that you're talking about, this is government run. And let me be very clear here, because people make this mistake. When you have a government or a business and they go to the government wanting a subsidy, that's cronyism. I would not call it capitalism, because it's an unfair intervention of the market. Let me add something else. I was a vocal opponent of those bailouts that were given to Lehman Brothers. They actually went bust already, but to these large financial firms which were playing fast and loose with derivatives, they should have gone bust and liquidated their assets. That's how a free market works. Everybody plays by the same rules, and that's not been happening.
So the government...
I agree with you.
So the government...
Now, the government has a role.
Has a role to what?
The role is to ensure a fair playing field in a court system, to make sure that there's enforcement of contract, and that there is enforcement of contract and prosecution for criminals, for criminal liability. So if a corporate CEO, for example, steals from a community, he goes to jail. If I'm engaged in a deal with somebody and I renege on my contract or I put something false in it, I go to jail. If somebody steals from you, they go to jail.
So if
that's the role of the state. And also, I apologize, one more, the monetary system. There has to be a minimal insurance. Okay, well, I'm going to stay here. So that's fine. If you want to stay there. So that's it. So this is Ron Paul's take on it, by the way, and I believe Ron Paulites and Bernie Sanders types tend to agree on like a few things.
So let me ask
I'm imagining you're Sanders supporters. If I'm wrong, tell me if I'm wrong.
So let me ask you...
Okay, awesome.
Let me ask you another question. So if you believe that the one role of government is to essentially prosecute malfeasance by capitalists,
why do you call them capitalists?
Well, because, it's like we live in a capitalist.
And I would have to add something else to this.
Let me
I apologize. The only thing I have to say is capitalism is a communistic term. Free market is better, or Cadillacs is better too.
Well, actually, so let me follow up with my question.
I don't know why they're laughing. Maybe because they've never heard such large terms. I don't know.
So let me follow up with my question.
Go ahead. I apologize. I interrupted you. I apologize.
So if you're saying that the one role of government is to punish malfeasance.
One role.
One role.
Yeah.
Do you think does that malfeasance extend to poisoning water?
Let's see.
Air?
That is a great question. I took environmental law. I took one class, sadly. It was only one.
Where was that?
At UC Irvine. Dr. I can't remember his first name.
Was it an extension class?
His name was Demento. Does it matter?
No. I'm just curious.
I don't know why, because there's a snide look on your face.
No,
Jim Demento, I believe, Jim Demento is a professor. He's an esteemed colleague on that campus, and he was helping to get the law school founded at UC Irvine, so I don't know why you're shaming him. He was an open-minded man. I'm sure we didn't agree on everything. Now, when you're talking about poisoning people's waters, we're getting into a very complicated situation, because when it comes to criminal law, there has to be something called mens rea. There has to be a demonstrated guilty mind. That's the term that's used. So if somebody is aware that they're dumping water and that they're aware that the water is poisoning this and that the awareness, that's how far it has to go. So it makes it very difficult.
But how do you establish mens rea when there aren't any regulations in place to evaluate the extent of poisoning, or that, if you don't have regulations?
We already have regulations.
Yeah, so do you then, or do you support EPA?
Oh, so you're going to that issue. The EPA is one of the biggest poisoning people. Did you hear about what they did to the Colorado River? And nobody was held accountable. Let me tell you something. When you allow for private interest or for market interest, it's easier to punish people. But now that everybody hides behind a big government interest, it's harder to punish people for that malfeasance. So thank you for making my case. All the more the EPA should be shut down, And individuals who are in charge of our waterways or our transmission ways, it's easier to hold them accountable. Like I said, CEOs are easier to target. When you have the company, it's clear, it's transparent, it has an IPO. Hey, you were involved in insider trading. You go to jail. Martha Stewart, she went to jail.
Let me ask you something.
Thank you.
How old are you?
Does it matter?
Yeah, it does, because
It's none of your
it gives
business.
me a perspective on your sense of history and the context.
Seriously?
Yeah, because
There are 15-year-olds who know things about history that I don't know,
Let me
and there are 80-year-olds who don't know things that I do
Getting
know.
back to
You didn't.
my-
There was one guy over there who didn't even know where Estonia was. He was older than me.
No respect. Let her finish her
Let me
question.
finish
Okay, but I had to act that up. You were not respectful. Excuse me. You were not respectful of Mr. Demento, the professor at
I
UC
don't
Irvine.
know Mr. Demento.
Then why are you telling me to be respectful?
Because she's
Whoa, why the double standard? It's always
no,
stacked
no.
against me, but go ahead.
a jackass.
Why am I a jackass? You talk to your kids like that? You talk to your father like that?
Yeah, I do. If he acts like you. And
Really?
no respect, yes.
Okay, how was I disrespectful?
Because you didn't let her finish her question.
I had to finish something.
No. Everything
Okay.
that she said.
You called. Why do you act like that? Why do you did talk to your father like that? No wonder you act the way you do. Shameful. That's what you've got, jackass? That's the best you've got. And you didn't even let me speak. You interrupted me. I feel sorry for your children. You talk to them like that too? Shame on you. What did you have to say? I apologize. You felt interrupted? I apologize.
No, you know what? You're not really giving a thoughtful response to my question.
I'm not?
No.
I told you about mens rea. You learned a new term today, I imagine.
You know what? I knew that term already.
Oh, you did? Excellent.
Yeah, it was like, 2 years of Latin in high school will do that.
Okay, good.
So, you know what? So you're not really
Sursus corda, lift up your heart.
thought
I just know that one too.
to,
Are you going to let her talk?
So,
Caveat emptor is another one.
Excellent.
Because with this administration, we really need to put that on the flag.
what's the term?
Caveat emptor.
That's right. Let the buyer beware. Absolutely.
So anyway,
Believe me, I was
Yeah.
not a Trump supporter initially, but I'm glad that I voted for him.
you know
Why
what?
are you glad? Tell us why you're glad.
Let me